Anyway, I've been testing James's wine knowledge throughout our trip, and we've visited dozens of vineyards and tasted hundreds of wines. So now it's time for one final spot test. I'm going to give you 1 minute to tell me everything that you've learned about wine on this trip, starting now.
Wine is made from grapes in regions of France by communists. It is put into barrels where it ferments owing to the presence of natural yeast on the outside of the grape and sugar inside the grape. The flavour of grapes themselves is not particularly distinctive, although there are over 2,000 varieties of them available to the grower. The flavour really comes through the fermentation process and, more importantly, from something that the French call terroir, which is the environment in which the grape grows, and it includes everything from the soil to the rocks to the climate, the wind and the direction of the sun and the character of the local people. Bordeaux is an area full of toffs that Oz Clarke knows, who live in big chateaux and produce extremely nice wines, but they all cost over £65 a bottle. Elsewhere in France, you have rustics living in sheds who make wine in a bucket, and it tastes absolutely bloody awful. In the New World, some of the grape varieties that have made French wine very famous are used to grow very nice, very consistent wines, and these wine varieties appear on the label. However, in France, they don't do this because that would make it too easy. They wouldn't be able to charge as much money and talk quite so much cobblers about the subject. So, as a result of this, French winemakers will talk endlessly about terroir and not mention the grape variety at all, whereas in the New World, they will say, this is a Cabernet. Cabernet makes men randy. Chardonnay grapes cause women's nipples to become erect, helping them to have sexual intercourse when they're at parties. It is a good idea if you're on a date with a woman to give her Chardonnay, if you're a woman on a date with a man to give him Cabernet, which will make him sexually aroused.
Very good.
I could have gone
I gave
for
you another 10
minute there.
seconds. I gave you another 10 seconds because you were getting interesting at last.